This is going to be tracking week. We have so many terrible, terrible stories about people being tracked. 3 of them, I think, by the government specifically. For the first one, here's Jon, today's Not So Critical update.
Thanks, Mike. I think this is it's definitely a mood setter, for this week. So Vice just came out with an article detailing how data brokers are selling location data of people who visit abortion clinics. And I guess and it says that it costs just over $160 to get a week's worth of data on where where people who visited Planned Parenthood came from. So it's pretty easy to figure out where they live or who they are and how to weaponize that. And I have a faint memory of me telling Mike and Peter nodding aggressively about how certain data that we collect could totally be weaponized. And Mike was like, no, what are you talking about? You're a dumb fool, idiot. And this is it. And I don't mean to say I told you so, but I totally mean to.
Yeah. So this data that they could buy, $160 for a week's worth of data, includes where people came from, how long they stayed for their visit, where they went afterwards. This is super, super bad. And you brought up before, privacy is especially important in countries where they do not have freedom of speech and are worried about government retribution from the government. I think what I failed to take into account is retribution from fellow citizens, which probably is what we deal with more directly here in the United States. This is super dangerous.
But not only that, so there's a big point that I made back then was, and again, not using this to bash on you, just that, or
no, you should use it to bash on. Please, let's bash on Mike here because I think he deserves it. Look at his grinning face. He totally deserves that.
It's shameful.
No, it's bad. This is bad. This is super bad.
Wait.
Terrible.
That it was really important is how governments change over time. Mm-hmm. And the government that we're okay with today, we might not be okay with tomorrow. Well, tomorrow arrived, quote, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Tomorrow arrived, and here we are. We're looking at a gaping hole of shit for pretty much every woman in a red state. Not trying to become political here, just saying how it is. Super dangerous. So not only could individuals use this data to retaliate against women who go and get abortions across state lines or whatever, but certain states can do the same thing and try them for, I don't know what, murder, for doing what they think is best with their body, because that's, obviously
it's such a horror. The thing though, right, is it's such a horrible loophole because the government themselves are actually kind of regulated against creating databases like this. So they can't go ahead and start tracking everybody. They can't use census data. They can't use create voting records or anything like that. Right. They can't install chips in your phone that track wherever you're going. But private companies can, and they can sell it to the government.
And they can sell it to agencies and police, and it's really fucked up. It's such a fucked up situation. Where now we're paying for this.
The other thing that kind of, I don't know, just gets me angry, even more angry, is my first reaction is I want to. Is it possible? Is it legal to buy information about the people who bought the data, or is that protected? Because
people who are fans of data broker pages on Facebook.
That's probably but that's probably protected in that data brokers terms of service, that our customers are protected. We won't sell their data for purchasing this, or maybe.
But even if it was, you shouldn't do it, right? It shouldn't be done. And there's this whole. I would like to sort of weaponize it in the other direction. I don't know, but it's not the right way to go. It's just, it shouldn't, it's not right. It shouldn't happen in the first place.
It shouldn't be possible. And this is where, the anonymizing data comes in, which is DuckDuckGo and Brave and what they're trying to accomplish, which Google doesn't give a shit about. And all these websites don't give a shit about. And all these application providers, they don't care about this. And what they do is that they are passively listening in on your GPS and where you're going and what you're doing. And if not GPS, then just your 4G triangulation or whatever. Like, it's easy to figure out where you are.
Companies
and they're just selling it for pennies just to make an extra.
And they won't care about this until there is regulation, until there is a law prohibiting them to do it. And then they will comply with the law because they have to.
Yeah.
And that's it. I've worked for companies like this before. Currently, they're not doing anything wrong. In fact, as Mike likes to point out, they're following their fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. So they're actually operating as they should, according to fucking capitalism. Jesus.
Capitalism has failed.
Anyway.
And this week, tomorrow, we're going to do a story about the CDC buying data, similar data. Later in the week, we're going to do a story about women being tracked specifically. This feels like the worst week of the show. This is super bad. If, like you said,
every
Peter,
week is the worst week of the show, man.
If Planned Parenthood was selling this information, or if the government was selling it, that would be like a huge HIPAA violation. But because you just happen to have a phone in your pocket when you go there, now all of a sudden you can be tracked. It's almost like if you had enough data points, you could figure out who any given individual was, even if it was anonymized.
Yeah. But no, wait. You just said that's kind of a paradox because data points aren't when we say, fuck.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I know what you feel. I know how you feel like though, because it's like, no, but you're right. No, but you're so right. Yeah. It was my reaction as well. This time I didn't fall for it.
Yeah.
This is why trolls are so successful. Even when you have one that you regularly do a weekly podcast with, like in the same virtual room as you that you've known for years, they can still fucking get you to fall for it, man.
Mike just loves annihilating my mental. It's just every week and we haven't even gotten started. I'm not even warmed up yet. It's the first show.
World's down.
Yeah,
exactly. Here we go.